Welcome to Scorched Earth and a general reading for the sign of Pisces, Sun, Moon or Ascendant for the month of December. I hope you are well. I'm using the Pagan Otherworlds Tarot for you today. A little bit of housekeeping before we start. If the reading resonates with you and you'd like to go a little bit deeper, there will be an extended that's accessible at the end. That will be the first link in the description box. The second thing is that I have completed the 6-month overviews for each of the signs running from January to June 2023. It's if you were to play them all back to back, that's 37 hours of video, so I've really put quite a bit of time into those. Pisces, yours is actually running to 4 hours long, so you might need to take a day off to listen to it. I don't know. That's the second link in the description box, but there is also a link to my private community, which is the Order of the Phoenix over on Circle, and one of the benefits of that, if you join at the mid-tier, is that you get access to all of the extended content for no extra cost, and that includes, you know, the 6-month overview, but it also includes all of the other signs as well. So if you're interested, that's perhaps worth a look, as well as being full of really amazing people. You know, I'm trying to build a proper community over there, rather than what I was kind of limited to with Patreon. So let's get on with this and see what's going on with you. Can I have 3 cards for Pisces, please? Thank you. There's the first. We have the 7 of Swords in your recent past. I have current energy, please, for... Thank you. We've got the 5 of Pentacles in reverse, like that. And what's coming towards Pisces, please? We've got the 4 of Pentacles. So there's definitely a process going on here. We've got the 3 of Wands at the bottom of the deck, with the Magician and Temperance sitting behind it. So I want to get some clarifiers out before I say anything else. See what I'm saying. We're going to go with the Wild Unknown to clarify. Throw a bit more of that in there. Hope the weather's a little better where you are than it is here. It's rained almost constantly for 2 weeks. And I mean really rained. Heavy rain. It's a bit grim, but there we are. Right, tell me about the 7 of Swords, please. Why is that here for Pisces? We have the 5 of Cups and the 7 of Wands. Yeah, this is sort of leaning into what I was feeling, which was that things have been a little bit difficult recently. Now about this 5 of Pentacles. Thank you. We have the Death card and we have the Ace of Wands. I like that very much as a combination of cards for you. And then let's look at the 4 of Pentacles. We have the 4 of Swords and we have the 10 of Cups. This is outstanding. Yeah. 2 of Wands is at the bottom of this deck. We've got the 3 of Wands at the bottom of the other deck. Let me just flip this around for a second. So, well, what? Every single time. There we go. Right. So now you can see what I'm seeing. And like I said at the beginning there, like my first feeling is that things have been a little bit tricky for you recently. But the good news is it seems to be on the up. So if we start here with this 7 of Swords, this is a card that talks about, well, it's sometimes called the Thief card, right? And it indicates deception of some sort. Now that can be deception of you by somebody else, some sort of deception that you've been engaged in, and no judgment here, you know, that's a possibility. Or it can talk about the way that we deceive ourselves about things. And the longer that I do this, the more often that seems to be the interpretation that comes out most often, I think. You know, there is no card in the tarot that is all good or all bad, and certainly the 7 of Swords is not all good, not all bad either, because it also talks to taking a risk. Now, as I'm saying that, I feel like there has been a fear of taking a risk more than anything else, a fear about the consequences of taking a risk. But it's also kind of coming back in this circular loop of ways that you have deceived yourself. Now we've got that 5 of Cups there. that is a card that speaks of loss, it speaks of grief. It can sometimes talk about focusing on the wrong thing too, and I wonder if, Pisces, that's possibly what's happened here, is that you've not seen the wood for the trees, perhaps. We have the Seven of Wands, which is a card that traditionally speaks about defensive behaviours or perhaps guarded behaviours. But we've got this one light shining here in the darkness. And the thing is, it's mirrored across here. You see how we've got the Ace of Wands and we've got this one wand that's a flame and it's lit. But what it's doing is it's cast these other wands into the shadows. And these other wands are your victories. So what you've not seen, what you've been deceiving yourself about and whatnot, it is the fact that there are successes here. You know, it's almost doubling down on the same message that we see with the Five of Cups, which is that, yes, there has been a loss of some sort. And actually, I'm not sure that there has been a tangible loss with you. It's more like the contemplation of it or the fear of it. But there is still stuff that remains. This here, lighting the wand in the darkness. This wand of defense, almost, is having you in a position where you're not seeing your own successes. You're not feeling like you can be victorious in taking a risk. I mean, like the Seven of Wands. It's quite a lot. Yeah, it's not. Seven of Wands again. And we've got the Magician. Now, the Magician was under here as well. You can see how the Magician is kind of... Oh, fuck me, look at that. We've got the Seven of Swords at the bottom of the deck here. I'm going to take this as confirmation of what I'm saying here. But it's like there's been things going on here in some way or another, and you'll have to take it as it resonates to you, whereby you have deceived yourself about actually how capable you are. You know, the Magician says you have all of the tools that you need to create whatever life that is that you want for yourself. And we see here in the darkness, we have 6 wands. There are victories here. But the Seven of Wands is, along with this Seven of Swords, it's being all like, oh, am I actually am I as successful? I think I'm probably not. Do I have the wherewithal to do whatever it is I'm trying to pull off here? Probably not. This is a crisis of faith and confidence rather than a realistic view of looking at the world, Pisces. That's what I'm going to say to you here. What do we have underneath this Seven of Swords? We've got the Hanged Man. Not only is that the card of Pisces under there it is, but it also talks about changing your perspective about something. Now, whatever it is that you've locked onto, whether it's come from a place of low self-worth or low confidence or any of these things, what it's essentially done is it's not just pulled some wool over your eyes, it's dragged the whole fucking sheep over your face. It's probably felt quite suffocating, I would think. And it's had you in a position where you have been denying your own magician. You've been denying your own capabilities, actually. And what I very much like about where we go in your present energy is that I don't know if you've understood that fact specifically, but something is changing, right? The Hanged Man has come into play here. And so where we have that, you know, wherever we have a 5 card, we've got instability here and here. So it's the Five of Pentacles. It's the feeling of being left out in the cold, being isolated. You know, I feel like it's one that talks about not meeting your own basic needs because I do. Just looking at it's interesting to me, I've just noticed that 2 pentacles are attached to the tree and 3 are falling down, and we've got a similar sort of feeling that we get from the 5 of Cups in that regard. You know, 2 are still attached to the branch, but the other 3 have gone. The 3 cups have fallen over and they're disgorging their contents onto the ground. It's just an interesting symmetry that I've never noticed with that card before. Anyway, the point is that you got this the other way around, and that's a stabilizing energy. You have brought some stabilization to bear on feelings that you have had, whether they have been to be with self-worth issues or even poverty generally. You know, the Five of Pentacles is not just about a lack of money. I see the Pentacles as energetic currency. So anything that you can invest then becomes a pentacle. Now, the meaning of the Five of Pentacles is a lack of those things or a fear of a lack of those things. So it can be about money, but it can be about paucity in terms of emotional reciprocity from people who are important to you. You know, it's a sense of lack or a fear that a lack is coming. Now, when it stabilizes like that, it feels like it's a much more realistic way of looking at the situation. It's a realization that things aren't possibly aren't quite as bad as you thought that they were. Or even if they are as bad as you thought they were, it's not like you don't have options. So we've got this crossroads card of the Two of Wands at the bottom here, right? It always talks about there being another way. There's another option. There's something possibly that up until this point that you didn't see. Now, the reason why you didn't see it is because you were busy telling yourself that you couldn't do X, Y, and Z for X, Y, and Z reasons. But we've got this tremendous energy of the Death card and the Ace of Wands coming out underneath this Five of Pentacles here. So this is a stabilization of an energy of lack, of something that you don't have in your life that you thought that you needed, right? They're stabilizing that out. Whether it's through a realization, like I said, that you have options, or there is something that you literally can do about this, or whether it's just sort of looking around and going, actually, do you know what? I thought this was going to be terrible, but it's really not as bad as I thought it was. It's allowing that sense of personal power to come back up to the surface, Pisces. Now, the Death card talks about transformation. It's also the card of Scorpio, whether or not that's relevant to you. But it talks about all change. It isn't about distinct endings, although that's often the way that the Death card is represented, because it can indicate distinct endings. Except that the way that I see life and everything, just the entire universe, is as nothing ends. It changes form. Right? Isn't that one of the laws of thermodynamics? Energy cannot be created, it cannot be destroyed, it merely changes form. That for me is a representation, or death rather, as a card, is a representation of that energy. So where something comes to a state of completion, it just sort of clears out the way, it makes space for something new. And here is something new right there. Now, whether the transformation is of you and your mindset and the way that you think, or whether it is a transformation of your circumstances as you understand them, or perhaps as they exist in front of you. This ace here is opportunity and potential, I feel, to experience the world differently. The one suit for me is all about experience and the way that you live. So when the Ace of Wands turns up, it is a big well of potential for experiences, for life, for changing your life in some sort of way. Let me get some, what about the Death card and the Ace of Wands, please? Thank you. We've got the Queen of Cups. And we've got the Seven of Cups. One more, please. Thank you. And we've got the Seven of Pentacles. Now, this is interesting, because what this is... Oh, look at that, Pisces. We've got the Tower right at the bottom of the deck. What this is suggesting to me is, look how many of the seven cards, right? You've had all cards of the seven. Now, seven in numerology is the card of the seeker. It's a card of somebody who is looking for answers, which suggests to me then that what you have been experiencing recently, even if it has been frustrating and confusing, almost certainly, is looking for a solid source of information that you can trust, that you can rely on. And I don't think that this is outside of you at all. I think what's been necessary is some sort of big shift in the way that you see things, that is allowing you to make changes. Right? Because the only thing that's ever been holding you back, Pisces, is yourself and is the way that you think about the situation, right? But this seven the presence of the 7 everywhere here, it feels to me is looking for answers and finding it. Now, it could be that you've been quite withdrawn. It could be that you've been choosing to spend a bit more time in the company of animals and nature than people. And, you know, sometimes that's the best idea, I think. But with the presence of the Queen of Cups here, is saying that the issue is around your acceptance rather than anything else. Now, I think in some sort of weird way, I think that you've been trying to force an issue with yourself. And I don't know how to explain it any better than that. So forcing an issue. And the forcing of the issue has been taking your eye off the fact that you're not accepting something is what it is. Perhaps not accepting that something has changed. But I feel like this change is absolutely revolving around you here somewhere. It feels like a big breakthrough moment for you, Pisces. The Tower and the Death card together are big, major arcana energies. And things don't stay the same in light of that. But I do feel like this relates to your mindset, or, like I said, the way that you accept or that you don't accept. Now, 7 of Cups and the 7 of Pentacles is confusion and illusion. It's not knowing which way to turn. It's not knowing which way is right, you know. And the 7 of Pentacles is knowing that something is very, very wrong with your situation, but what the fuck do you do about it? Now, the fact that these are coming out here underneath the Death card and the Ace of Wands, and we've got the Tower at the bottom of the deck here, it feels to me like you are making some big changes in the here and now. But these are kind of bleeding into December too. Whether or not it's because the big changes are happening at you, and I don't feel that's the case, or whether you've got the confidence now to make the kind of changes that you needed to make, that just a small, short period of time ago, you didn't think you were capable of making. You weren't owning your ability to be able to shape your reality quite as much as you can. Because when we get into December, we've got the 4 of Pentacles with the 4 of Swords and the 10 of Cups, and that's wonderful energy. I actually like the fact, generally speaking, what we like is to see all of the cards following on from each other, right? There's a distinct journey happening there. So from the 4 of Pentacles to the 5 of Pentacles. Well, if there's ever a way to skip the 5 of Pentacles, that would be nice, but I think it's an important teaching moment, so it needs to be in there, But the fact that you've gone from the 5 of Pentacles in the reverse, and for it to be in the reverse, there is a suggestion that it would have needed to, at least energetically, have appeared in your life in the upright first. Otherwise, it doesn't make any sense, right? So we're going from there to there, and then we're kind of stepping back. Now, I don't think it's any mistake, or coincidence rather, that we have 2 cards numbered 4 here. And 4 is the number of the foundation. It feels like you're kind of going back to basics a little bit here, but not regressing. Not taking 3 steps back. It's kind of like, well, I'm here where I am. Now, what are the basics that I know of things, and how can I employ them? Because I think that you've been quite confused, and you've been kind of wandering around in this foggy illusion for a little while. And now there seems to be a clarity that's coming. And more than that, there's a sense of working out what truly is important to you. Now, this 4 of Pentacles sometimes is called the Miser card, right? We usually see some dude and he's absolutely clamped down, foot on each pentacle, and one on his head, and one clasped in front of his chest. It talks about not releasing things as they are meant to be released, right? It's not allowing the energy to flow. But conversely, because not all cards in the tarot are all good or all bad, no card in the tarot rather, what we've got here, conversely, is the possibility that you now truly understand what is important and understand what is necessary to hold on to. I think for some of you, you might have had some sort of creative breakthrough, or be having some sort of creative breakthrough in the here and now anyway. But what we've got here is what is important and how you can stack that up in a way that will assist you in some fashion or other. And we've got this 4 of Swords. We've got a great deal of mental peace that comes with this. And it's one of those situations, Pisces, where I don't feel like you've realised quite how much strain you've been under until you have released yourself from it. It's as simple as that. Once the weight has gone, once whatever breakthrough it is has happened, and you're kind of coming out into this creative energy on the other side, you're like, holy shit, I can breathe again. That's Four of Swords. Yeah. We've got the Five of Wands and the Tower. It could be that you've been in a state of conflict with other people, but I do feel like you've been in a state of conflict with yourself. And there's nothing that's going to hold you back more than that. But this Tower's blown everything up. I mean, here it is again. And what we're getting instead is the Four of Swords. We're coming to a state of mental peace. Internal peace. There's a comfort with the changes that you are making because they feel like they are reflective of what has shifted inside of you now already. You know, the whole thing about your external world being a reflection of your internal world. If your external world is confusing and foggy and you don't know what the fuck to do and all that sort of thing, that is a mirror for what's going on inside. When you have this kind of breakthrough here and the Tower happens and you change your perspective and you're like, holy shit, I see things from all sorts of angles now that I didn't see before. I see the possibility of routes forward that I didn't see before. I can actually start moving in a direction. Then, by definition, your external world is going to change too. It's just going to be what happens. Tell me about this Ten of Cups. Five of Pentacles. We've got the Five of Pentacles and we've got the Nine of Swords, and I actually look, there you are at the bottom of the deck as the High Priestess, coming in as one of the most powerful feminine archetypes in the fucking tarot, because you're feeling it now, right? And you've had the Magician and you've had the High Priestess, and that together for me is the true power couple of the tarot. I know it's supposed to be the Emperor and the Empress, right? But nah, it's Magician and High Priestess in my opinion, right? So this sense that I was talking about before of you coming to realise that you've got power of your own and you can affect change wherever you like. You've just got to start in here first. It's always got to be inside first. Pisces is a huge thing. And, you know, first rules of manifestation are you have to see it in your head. You have to feel it inside you. You know, you have to act as if it already exists. That's the kind of energy that you need to put into that there. So where you had been, this Five of Pentacles, I feel, kind of concentrating on the lack of something that you have, what we've got is that being replaced, right? Certainly not worrying about this anymore. Nine of Swords in reverse, another one of those cards that when it appears reversed indicates that it has been energetically present in its upright up until this point. It's like the things that you were worried about not having, or the things that you were worried about losing, the paucity and the poverty that you might have been concerned about hasn't manifested because you stopped focusing on it. You instead focused on stacking up the things that were important to you, getting peaceful about shit. And there's a great deal of harmony that's coming in as a result. Now, this presence of this Ten of Cups here makes me wonder if this whole situation here has involved you within a group of people, whether that's your family or friends or a work situation or something like that. Right? And there's been a concern about it all falling away, right? We know that you were focusing on the wrong aspect of this here. I do feel quite strongly that a lot of this was just the way that you were looking at the situation. When you look at it differently, when you allow that internal shift to occur, and you can then, by extension, change the way that things are happening outside of you, even if that's something as simple as actually articulating how you feel about something. It could be that you've got a whole group of numb people around you who are nowhere near as sensitive as you are, and they don't get it unless you spell it out in crayons for them. You know, but then you spell it out in crayons for them, and they go, holy shit, Pisces, we had no idea you felt like that. Yes, let's totally sort this out. Because it feels like an expression of your inside is kind of leaking out here in December, and it's changing everything. It feels really, really nice, actually. We've got a loss of concern and anxiety and worry about things, and we've got a loss of worrying about what it is that you may be losing or you might have lost. It's like change that mindset altogether, Pisces, because everything's coming up rosy for you. I'm actually recording this on the date of the Sagittarius new moon. So there's some good energies around for interacting with other people at this time. Certainly for this part of the lunar cycle, at least, anyway. But the wider lesson here is talking about your ability to stand in your own way, to block yourself, to be your own obstacle, and how you deny in yourself a certain power that you perceive in other people. I wonder if that's the perception. Because if it is, I mean, this is possibly another shadow situation. They're popping up here, there, and everywhere, whereby you put your own gold into your own shadow. So you see someone who is powerful and assertive and all these kind of things, are confident and they can make things happen, and you look at them and you go, wow, they're fucking brilliant. I wish I could do that, but I can never do that. Well, I hate to break it to you, but the fact that you've seen it, you've recognised it, and you've admired it in somebody else means it exists in there in you. Because if it didn't, it would just go straight over your fucking head. Pisces, you wouldn't even pick up on it. And that's true the world over, in every single shadow aspect of anything ever. It's just the way that it works. So this is a month to be brave, to have the courage of your convictions, and to articulate the change of perspective. I do feel that quite strongly. It's not like you have to sit everybody down and have a deep and meaningful and go, well, I was totally lost in my own head for ages and ages, and then I had this breakthrough and thought about this, and now you don't need to worry about that. But if there is something that you need to advocate for, if there's something that you need to bring to the attention of people, even if you think that they should have noticed it themselves, but they haven't, right? This is a really good time to do that, because the creative juices are starting to flow now. I don't know why that's important, but that's really important for you. And the more you can advocate for your needs and articulate what is important, the more these creative juices have an opportunity to flow. It's the best way I can put what I'm feeling here. So I'm going to leave it there. If you would like to go a little bit into December and see what else there is to know about that, you're welcome to come and join me over at Vimeo. The link is in the description box. Again, there is also Circle if you want to have a look at all of these things. And don't forget about the 6-month overviews, because I actually recorded yours twice, because I did it the first time and my mic failed and there was no audio whatsoever. I had to do the whole fucking thing again, yours and Capricorn's. I was devastated. But I did them, and they exist, and they're there, and I would love for everybody to see them. So whichever way you want to make that happen is entirely up to you. And of course, if you don't, there's no shade from here, from me about that either. I just hope that this has helped. Because you're not a victim, Pisces, and you're not wishy-washy. You're incredibly strong. You're incredibly resourceful. You're incredibly creative, and you can manifest the life that you want for yourself if you believe that you can. And that there is the tipping point. Right? Do you believe that you can, or do you believe that you can't? Because you're right in either way. So I shall leave it there. Know that I love you all very, very much, and I will see you soon.